There's nothing I like more than fresh baked bread. My grandmother taught me how to make this type of bread, which is a French bread. It's hard and crusty on the outside, but it's soft and chewy in the middle. In this video I'm going to teach you how to make it. I think you'll like it because it's delicious. Salt, vegetable shortening, evaporated milk, sugar, bread flour, and rapid rise yeast. You're also going to need 3 bowls, a large bowl to mix the dough, a smaller bowl that you can use to prepare the yeast, and a pot that you can heat up on the stove. We're going to add 3½ cups of water, half a cup of the evaporated milk, 4 teaspoons of salt, two tablespoons of sugar, and then 3 tablespoons of our vegetable shortening. And then we're just going to turn this on low heat to bring all these things together. And just stir it to help everything dissolve. As soon as you don't see any more salt or sugar or shortening in the liquid, you can turn off the heat. So it's important when we start our yeast that we use lukewarm water. We don't want it to be too hot or too cold, or our yeast won't do well and our bread won't rise correctly. So you just want to put between a cup and ½ a cup of water in the bowl. We're going to add to that a packet and a half of our rapid rise yeast. Just give it a little stir. And then we'll leave that for about 5 minutes. When the liquid you put together has returned to room temperature, you're ready to put together your dough. You want to make sure it's not still too hot or it'll kill the yeast. We're going to combine about half of the bag of bread flour, the liquid that we put together, and our yeast, which now has a nice plume on it. All of that in our large mixing bowl, and we just want to kind of mix it together with our hand. When you mix it, it's going to be really soupy. That's okay, that's how it's supposed to be. And we're just going to bring it together and then let that rest for about ½ an hour. After about 30 minutes, we're going to come back. Our dough is still going to be very soupy, but we're going to add almost all of the rest of our flour, just saving ourselves about ½ a cup, and then mix it in with our hand. So you can see the dough is starting to come together. It still feels very sticky. When you get all of the flour in the bowl incorporated, your dough still feels very sticky, you can always just add a little more flour. If it feels too dry and you're having trouble getting all the flour worked in, you can just add a little bit of water. So when your dough starts to come together, you just want to make it into a ball. Just kind of roll it into the best ball you can. And then you want to put a tiny bit of vegetable oil on your hands, and you're going to pat the outsides of the dough with the vegetable oil. Just a little bit. And this is just so it doesn't stick to the bowl. And then we're going to leave it here for 2 hours and let it rise. And as a lid, we will use a grocery bag. After 2 hours, your bread's going to be ready to go. It's going to be all puffed up like this. And what you want to do is take your hand and make a fist and just punch it down and punch all the air out of it. After we do that, we're going to let it rest for another 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, take out the dough and divide it into 4 equal pieces. Roll them up into balls, put them back in the bowl for another 10 minutes. When it comes time to cook your bread, you can either just put it on a regular oven pan, or you can use some bread screens like these, which I got at Williams-Sonoma. And I'm just going to coat them with a little bit of the vegetable shortening so the bread doesn't stick to them. To make the loaves, start by rolling out the balls of dough into a flat sheet. Roll the sheet up into a loaf. And then pinch it together and pinch the ends. You can use a knife to score the bread. Lay a damp cloth over the loaves and let them rise for another 30 minutes. Okay, we're just about to bake our bread. The last thing we're going to do is put some seeds on top just for some added flavor and to make it a little more interesting. To make the seeds stick, I have an egg white here that I'm just going to paint over top of the loaves. This will also give the top of the bread a nice brown color. You can hear the oven going off just in the background, letting us know that it's ready. You're going to set the oven at 400 degrees and bake the loaves for 30 minutes when it's time to bake them. Comes out better if you put kind of a lot of seeds. When the oven gets up to 400 degrees, put the loaves in and set the timer for 30 minutes. And after 30 minutes, we got 4 fresh loaves of bread.